The Admiral shouldn't have touched her rifle. Staff Sergeant Riley Torres looked like any other soldier at FOB Reaper until Rear Admiral Sterling made the mistake of grabbing her Barrett and questioning her place in combat. But when the smoke cleared from 6 impossible shots at distances that rewrote the record books, one question haunted everyone. If the quiet sniper they called Phantom could make a 1,950-meter kill shot through a doorway barely 18 inches wide, who was she before the Army found her? Staff Sergeant Riley Torres sat alone in the makeshift briefing room at Forward Operating Base Reaper, Helmand Province, cleaning her Barrett M110A1 with the precision of a surgeon. 26 years old, 5 feet 7 inches, lean muscle earned through years of carrying heavy rifles across desert terrain. The other operators called her Phantom, though most kept their distance. The Joint Task Force briefing was scheduled for 0730, Navy SEALs from Team 5, Army Rangers from 3rd Battalion, and Riley, the only designated marksman attached from the 1st Special Forces Group. She'd earned her position through multiple confirmed long-range engagements over 4 deployments, holding the theater's distance record at 2,340 meters, just shy of the world record, but verified by 4 spotters. To the brass who'd just arrived from Norfolk, she was just another soldier they hadn't requested. The room smelled like diesel fuel and Afghan dust. Maps covered every wall, marking Taliban positions in the surrounding valleys. This wasn't her first rodeo with inter-service operations, but something about today felt different. Riley learned to shoot from her father, Marcus Torres, a former Marine Scout sniper who'd served 3 tours in Iraq. After his medical retirement following an IED blast, Marcus bought a ranch in Arizona and taught his daughter everything: wind reading, distance estimation, breathing control. By age 14, she could hit coyotes at 600 yards consistently. Her mother, a former Army intelligence officer, initially opposed her military dreams. But after watching her outshoot every member of her father's old unit at a reunion competition, she drove Riley to the recruiter herself. She enlisted at 19, selected for the U.S. Army Sniper Course after scoring expert on every marksmanship qualification. The Army Sniper Course at Fort Benning nearly broke her, not physically. She could hump a ruck with the best of them, but the instructors made her prove herself twice as hard. Every shot had to be perfect, every calculation double-checked. When she graduated with honors, the commandant himself handed her the certificate, noting she'd set multiple course records. Her motivation was simple: precision saved lives. Every trigger pull meant another soldier coming home. In Iraq, she'd covered convoy movements, eliminating threats before they could detonate IEDs. In Afghanistan, she'd spent 16 hours in a hide site during a sandstorm, waiting for one shot that prevented an entire patrol from walking into an ambush. That 2,340-meter shot had eliminated a Taliban commander about to coordinate a complex attack, verified, documented, legendary among those who knew. The briefing room filled with testosterone and ego. At 0725, Rear Admiral David Sterling entered with his entourage: 4 commanders, 3 lieutenants, and enough ribbon racks to stock a uniform shop. Sterling had insisted on attending the tactical briefing personally, against the advice of his staff, determined to show he still understood field operations despite 17 years behind a desk. He spotted Riley immediately, his eyes narrowing at her rifle case. The Barrett stood propped against the wall, its .308 caliber presence demanding respect from anyone who understood long-range precision. Admiral Sterling walked straight to her, ignoring the Rangers and SEALs. His voice carried that patronizing tone reserved for people he considered beneath him. "What's a little girl doing with such a big gun?" Sterling asked. "Do you even know how to use it properly?" Before we continue, please comment where you are watching from, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Master Sergeant Rodriguez from the Rangers tried to interject, explaining that Staff Sergeant Torres held the distance record for confirmed engagements in the entire theater. Sterling waved him off, declaring that this operation needed real shooters, not diversity quotas filling combat positions. The Admiral continued, stating he'd been shooting competitively since Annapolis, that he understood precision better than some enlisted soldier playing with equipment beyond her capability. He reached for the Barrett while declaring he'd personally verify if the weapon was even properly maintained. That's when he made his mistake. He grabbed the rifle's barrel, trying to pull it away from her. In the sniper community, Touching another shooter's weapon without permission violated the most sacred unwritten rule. Every operator knew that rifle was zeroed specifically to her, adjusted for her eye relief, her breathing pattern, her trigger pull. Chief Petty Officer Washington from SEAL Team 5 spoke up, warning the Admiral that Phantom had provided overwatch on their last 4 operations. Sterling laughed, actually laughed, saying he'd show everyone what real marksmanship looked like if she couldn't handle the pressure. Riley's hand stayed steady, but inside her father's words echoed, "Never let them see you break." She thought about every officer who'd questioned her presence, every soldier who'd assumed she'd gotten her position through quotas rather than skill. The weight of the moment pressed down, not anger, she'd learned to channel that long ago. This was deeper, a bone-deep exhaustion from constantly proving herself. In Iraq, she'd made a shot through a dust storm that saved a medical convoy. The after-action report credited it to fortunate timing. In Afghanistan, she'd eliminated 7 Taliban fighters in 12 seconds during a complex ambush. The briefing barely mentioned her contribution. She looked at the Admiral. Soft hands, no calluses from hours on the rifle range, no dirt under manicured nails from building hide sites. His ribbons included a bronze star without the V device, meritorious service, not combat valor. Men like him made decisions that got operators killed, then went home to air-conditioned offices and political dinners. Her mind drifted to Private First Class Jackson, 20 years old, killed by a sniper she'd been tracking for 5 days. Command had pulled her off the hunt, saying they needed her elsewhere. Jackson died because someone in a clean uniform made a tactical decision from a strategic distance. But this wasn't about her anymore. Every operator in this room depended on Overwatch. If Sterling wanted to play games with her position, people would die. Sterling's grip tightened on the Barrett's barrel, pulling harder. Riley didn't let go. The rifle became a bridge between 2 worlds, his authority and her expertise. The temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees. Then intelligence arrived that changed everything. Specialist Murphy burst through the door with urgent intel. 7 high-value targets spotted moving through the valley. A Taliban leadership meeting happening in 5 hours. The kind of opportunity that came once a deployment. But they'd need precise overwatch to eliminate security positions without alerting the main group. Sterling immediately started outlining his plan, suggesting one of his staff officers could handle Overwatch if this sergeant couldn't perform under pressure. The lieutenant he indicated, maybe 26, had qualified marksman in basic training. Nowhere near the level needed for combat precision shooting. Chief Washington tried reasoning with the Admiral, explaining that those positions required specific shots through narrow windows, angles only an experienced sniper could make. The targets would be at varying distances, 900 to 1,750 meters, with crosswinds through the valley approaching 18 miles per hour. Sterling doubled down, declaring that marksmanship was marksmanship, that his competitive shooting experience at Annapolis qualified him to judge who could handle the mission. That's when he made his second mistake, yanking the Barrett hard enough to pull Riley off balance. Her response was pure muscle memory. Army combatives. Level 4 training kicked in. She twisted the rifle, using the Admiral's own momentum against him. Her left hand found his wrist, applying pressure to the median nerve while rotating. The joint lock, perfected through hundreds of hours of close-quarters combat training, could dislocate joints if applied fully. The crack was audible, not a break. She'd controlled that, but definitely strained ligaments. Sterling dropped to one knee, face white. His security detail reached for sidearms. Every special operator stood up. The standoff lasted 4 seconds that felt like 4 hours. Then Riley did something nobody expected. She helped Sterling to his feet professionally, without emotion, and made him an offer. "Give me 7 targets at maximum range, any distance the Admiral chooses. If I miss even one, I'll accept any disciplinary action he wants, including court-martial for striking a superior officer. But if I make all 7, he lets me run Overwatch for the mission without interference." Sterling, cradling his injured hand, agreed through gritted teeth. His pride wouldn't let him back down, even wounded. They moved to the range behind the FOB. Word spread fast. Within minutes, 50 soldiers gathered to watch. 7 targets were placed: 900, 1,100, 1,350, 1,500, 1,750, 1,900, and 1,950 meters. The last one pushed the Barrett's maximum effective range in these conditions. Riley didn't rush. She checked wind patterns, calculated bullet drop, factored in air density at elevation. For extreme distances beyond 1,600 meters, she'd need to account for the Coriolis effect, the Earth's rotation affecting bullet trajectory. The Barrett's weight settled into her shoulder like an old friend. First shot, 900 meters, center mass. Second shot, 1,100 meters, perfect hit despite a sudden gust. Third shot, 1,350 meters, adjusted for mirage effect, dead center. Fourth shot, 1,500 meters through a crosswind that would have sent most bullets wide. Fifth shot, 1,750 meters. The bullet took over 2 seconds to impact. Headshot. Sixth shot, 1,900 meters. She waited for the wind to settle, reading patterns in the dust. Dead center. The final target waited, 1,950 meters. She waited for the wind to speak, reading patterns in the thermal currents. The trigger broke clean. 3.5 seconds of flight time. The steel target rang like a church bell. Admiral Sterling stood silent for 40 seconds, his injured hand wrapped by a corpsman. Then he did something that shocked everyone. He saluted with his left hand, not required for enlisted personnel, but the gesture meant everything. He apologized publicly, admitting he'd let prejudice override judgment. He'd been in the Navy 32 years and never seen shooting like that. He asked formally if Staff Sergeant Torres would provide overwatch for the operation. The mission went flawlessly. Riley eliminated 9 security positions without detection, enabling the task force to capture all 7 high-value targets. Her longest confirmed engagement that day, 2,125 meters through a doorway barely 18 inches wide. The intelligence gathered prevented 4 planned attacks on coalition forces. For her actions during the operation, not the demonstration, Sterling submitted her for a Silver Star citation. The citation specifically noted her precision fire that enabled mission success without friendly casualties. More importantly, he returned to Norfolk with a different perspective, pushing for merit-based assessments in joint operations. 4 months later, Riley received orders to Fort Bragg as an instructor at the Special Operations Target Interdiction Course, later rebranded as the Special Forces Advanced Sniper Program. She became the first female instructor in the program's history. Her father lived long enough to see the ceremony, passing 3 weeks later with her Silver Star citation on his bedside table next to his old Marine medals. The rifle, she still has it,